Olivia in our Facebook group said, how long does it take you to close the gap? And so I thought you would be the perfect person to talk about this.
Well, I'll be honest, because, how long it takes me to close the gap, how long is it going to take somebody else to close the gap? How big is the gap for the student? It really is there's so many things that are at play here that it's impossible to say, I'm going to be able to tell every single tutor who hasn't gone through my program is going to take you this long to close. I have no idea how long it's going to take you to close the gap. For me, I took 2 years of data to find out how long does it take me to close the gap. And so this is what I suggest other people do. Collect information when you first start working with a student. Test them. Like, I test mine every 3 students, but test them periodically. Have a determined amount of time that you want to go through, and then see how long does it take you to close the gap so that you know the answer to that. For me, it was 8 hours. I was between 8 and 12. It depended on the student, right? So, I had some kids that I was closing the gap for a full year, 4 hours. It was like, what? Are you kidding me? And then other kids, it would be, 16. So did I have outliers? Yeah, I had outliers on both sides. But on average, it was between 8 and 12 hours that I was able to close the gap a full year. So what I have to take a look at is how big is the gap, right? So I'm not going to say to people that I can close the gap for your child in 8 hours if they have a 3-year gap, right? I have to multiply my 8 or my 12 by 3 based off of the information I have about the child. So that's what I will do when I give, like, if people are like, well, how long do you think this will take? So I say, I can't guarantee you that this is how long it will take, but on average, this is how long it takes most of my other students. On the low side, it would be about this amount of time. On the higher side, it would be this amount of time. Based off of what I know so far about your child, I think it would be about this amount of time, but there's one piece of the puzzle I don't have yet, and that is your child's learning rate. We don't all have the same learning rate, right? Like, Beth may be a much quicker learner than I am. I may need more repetition to understand something, right? And it doesn't mean that she's smarter than me or I'm smarter than her, or it doesn't mean any of that, right? It just means that I just need more time with the content in order to master it. And so I don't know where their child is at. So, it's a great question. We all want to have like that magic pill, that magic solution. But for each kid, it is going to be a different answer. So just track your data and know, like, what does your data tell you about what you're able to do with your students?
Yeah. And I think tracking that data is the key to figuring out and to being able to talk to those parents during your assessments, during your consultations, and being able to say, hey, this is what my students typically get. And so that's awesome.
And they really appreciate that I have that information, right? Yeah. Because they want to start like putting aside like how much money is this going to cost. And so they start planning ahead. Like, what do we need to maybe pull back from so that we can make sure that we get this in, because they really do value their child's education.
And those are the best clients to have, aren't they? So it's amazing.